Warning! Graphic pest control video ahead. Do not watch if you might be offended. If, however, you really like watching pest control videos, then hello again and welcome to the Squirrel Hunter channel. Please continue and watch us as we control pest populations with silenced air rifles here in the UK. If you have any questions, can you please check the description below first to see if it's already been answered and for some useful links. Thank you. Before we get going, here is some info. Since I started making this video, HITTAC have now become part of Arken Optics. This was supposed to just be a kit video, but due to the time lag in the merging, I can now take it out shooting. So ignore any mentions of kit video, although there is a kit overview at the beginning if you want to watch it. Or you can just skip to 7 minutes 50 seconds if you just want to see it in action. As you might have already spotted, this is only a kit video. I've received through the post the HITTAC Compact HD 520x digital day and night scope. I've also received it a bit too late in the year to make a video shooting squirrels with it, though I would have liked to. So this is just the reason it's a kit video for now. It will surface again, no doubt, in the future, either by myself, Brev or Bro. That's a picture of what I got out of the box. Quite a compact unit. You see next to my hands are quite small. It's very compact, looks very well made, all sealed against water with nice O-rings and things. You've got a HD card, you've got a lens cloth, all the little things you expect to have on a modern piece of equipment. No battery came with it, or SD card, because of issues with their courier apparently, but fortunately for me I have SD cards and batteries spare. There's a few pictures now giving you an idea of the dimensions. You've got inches and centimetres on there, or millimetres, depending on what your personal preference is, to give you an idea of the size of the unit, which is quite compact. It also came with no manual. They sent me a couple of pictures of what would be included eventually in future editions. Obviously this was a bit of an issue for me, working out how to use it, so I stuck it on top of my Theoben Rapid 177, my Ratin rifle. I did manage to find a manual online, or pictures of it. I copied them onto this video so you can pause at any point and have a little read. I've been sent a link since as well to an online PDF, which is an updated version of this, so I left this in. This is the original, shows all the buttons, what they do, and also where the battery goes, etc, etc. Seems to be pretty straightforward to operate once you have the instructions, as you would expect. There's a few little things to look out for. It's a day and night scope. You can see when you go to night vision on here, you use the IR. You see the bottom left there. You keep pressing the IR button and it changes the intensity of the IR light. Something you should be aware of. You'll see it on the screen. I'll point it out in a bit. Let it run through all these manuals, and then we'll get to a little bit of overview of the and use of the actual unit. Obviously it uses digital zero in, where you move the crosshairs across, but you have to press the right buttons. And that's pretty much where the absence of the manual caused me a lot of grief. Once I had them, there was no issues. All worked pretty well. Don't normally make kit videos, I normally just like going out and shooting with them. So this is a return to something we did years ago. Here's a picture of the actual unit. There's a zoom control in that circle. It's 5 times optical zoom, and then it goes up in 2.5 times increments up to 20 zoom. You just spin it left for down, right for up, and it clicks into place. 2.5 times increments, as I've already said, and I will show you later. And then it's digital zoom from then on in. There's the view of the top of the scope. That's the record button in the circle. I wouldn't mind having some sort of little knob on top to make it easier to find just by touch while you're looking through the scope. That would be useful. That's a view down the viewfinder at the on-screen menu, which you have to enter in for zero in, etc, etc. The cross with the red dot I've got highlighted in the top right of the screen is what you need to go into to do the zero in. Here I am actually zeroing on a cardboard box to see where my groups go, and you can see at the bottom the C that is marked there with the circle is the ballistic profile I'm on. I should have set it to A really. It goes A to Z. You can set it up for that many rifles, and from that it should be pretty obvious. If you're changing rifles with it, you need to make sure you know which one was set for which rifle, otherwise you're not going to hit much, are you? I'm happy it's zeroed. I'm off for some testing now. Proper target, 5-shot group. This is all in real time. I haven't slowed it down or sped it up. Test the accuracy of the rifle, which is a known quantity to me, but we'll see how well the scope holds zero. It's only a 5-shot string, just to see how it goes. It's on maximum mag, so 20 mag, and it's at 15 yards. What I would do for the feeders, how I set my rifles up normally. So not far, but it's on max zoom on a nice sunny day. Just for a bit of size comparison, there's a UK 5p piece for younger shooters. For older shooters, there's a 6p from pre-decimalisation days. For anyone in Europe, there's a 1-cent piece. For American viewers, another 1-cent piece, just for comparison. And there's a 25 Thai baht, which looks a bit out of focus to me. My apologies for that. To give you an idea of the zooming in. I'm zooming out actually. Started off maximum zoom, and those are the zoom increments you get. I think it's about 2.5 times per click, all the way back from 20 to 5 zoom. Give you a bit of an idea what that looks like. My youngest decided he wanted to go, dropped 17, pretty much bang on target, all in the same hole. This is a bit of video footage from my garden, sat out in the dead of night. That's the IR on maximum illumination. You notice on the earlier pictures there's a bit of rail on the side. I think you can add extra illumination if you want, which is always an option with most things you can do. It's onboard illumination only. This is at maximum IR, so I've clicked away on the IR button until I've got it up to the icon I showed you earlier on. Trying a bit of zooming in. You can change the colour of the crosshairs as well. Just pressing one button you can cycle through several colours. So you've got it on yellow at the moment. I'm playing with the zoom. That's another thing as well, because I'm right-handed. When I reach around with my left hand to focus the front of the scope, your hand gets in the way of the IR a bit. That's something that could be possibly improved somehow. I'm not sure how. Now I've had a chance to use it a bit longer. Obviously the technique was to use a finger and thumb approach around the actual IR light source, but for the fact my sausage fingers don't work very well, I would have worked this out sooner. And here we go with some action for you. On the permission I don't normally go to, Bro normally shoots it. I've got the Theoban Rapid 177 with the HITTAC on top. It's a closer view of it if you haven't already seen it, which you have. I should be launching the most excellent H&N Barracuda Hunter Extremes. I'm sat in the hide, all set up ready to go. Taken some zero shots already. I had to re-zero because I moved it back another notch on the Picatinny rail. It was relatively easier to do in the field. There's a piece of cardboard on the left that Bro normally uses, and those reactive targets just to prove the point. That one in the middle was my final 0 point, so I'm happy and ready to go. Should always take 0 shots. And I couldn't resist having another go. Nothing wrong with that. Bang on the money. Started to wonder if the day was going to go great today or not, because here's a picture of my flask, like freshly made with nice hot tea, that I left on the side and didn't bother to take with me. So when those things start to happen, you start to wonder if the day's fated to be good or bad. Bro already told me that this area, the squirrels like to come early, he said. That's a direct quote. And I'm here early, and all I've got is a robin. After about an hour's wait, my first victim approached. Just run up that log, caught me napping, playing on my phone. You can see the gap in the wire mesh. Made that to keep the deer out, and the more wire at the bottom is to keep badgers out, because they come in and eat the wheat, and they've broken our feeder in the past. There's a badger set not far away from where I am. Just waiting for this squirrel to come to the feeder. I usually do picture in picture, but I won't bother this time. I'll show you what happens with my normal camera, then I'll show you what happens full screen with the HITTAC footage. Back to normal speed for the shot. good solid impact. 177 found its mark. They sometimes do that, dangle by the leg as it grips on with a spasm, and those sharp claws dig in, and the blood just gushes out of its head. I know the impact was good. One dead squirrel. Just got to wait for him to drop off. Still watching through the scope just in case. And there's the safety back on as the squirrel drops to the ground. Here's the footage you've been waiting to see. Partially obscured by the wire, but I'm happy with the accuracy of my rifle. It's already been tested. Put the crosshairs and the pellet will go there. You can see the blood in a lot better detail. Very graphic, I know, but you can't go shooting things in the head and be offended by it or squeamish. You shouldn't be watching this as per the warning in the front of the video. And if you ever plan on doing this yourself, this is what you have to expect. Not for the faint-hearted. I'm pretty sure that was a very quickly dispatched squirrel. There's houses a couple of 100 metres down the hill from me. Maybe not even that far actually. Maybe 100 to 150. They've got some work going on. It doesn't seem to affect the squirrels. I'm not shooting in the direction of the houses, I'm shooting across the side of the hill. They won't hear me and they won't see me, but I can certainly hear them. It's not putting this squirrel off. See the dead one on the ground? Just see it there, have a little panic attack. As so often happens. Those wires we put up to keep the wildlife, like the deers and the badgers out, also act as a good body stopper. When they kick, when the headshot goes in, very often, they'll kick down the bank. There's a link in the description from Ted, telling you why they do that. They're not because they're alive. It's a good sign their brain's been mullered. Back to fast forwarding again. You can see the second squirrel coming down the tree, which normally adds to the excitement of it all. Will you get two or not? The one coming down the tree hasn't managed to push the other one off, so I imagine that one's the dominant one. So that's got a buzzsaw going in the background on fast speed, 5 times. Here we get ready for the shot coming up. Here we go. Wait for it. That one knocked it back on its butt, down to the ground. Quite happy with that shot. Still watching it through the scope. Just about make it twitching at the bottom of the screen. Usually have a little zoom in with the camera just to see what I can see. Obscure by that tree a bit, but I'm pretty sure it's a dead squirrel. And here's the full screen version of what I could see down the scope. Not sure if I should call it the Arken Optics one or the HITTAC still a HITTAC on the side of it. Essentially the same thing. That one's decided to come in for the feed finally. It's wanting to sit up, ideally in a feeding position. So I'm just waiting. There we go. I swiftly move the crosshairs over to the point of impact, straight over the eyebrow on one of them type of shots. I'm looking around the side of the scope now, I'm guessing. Even if I didn't know there was a second squirrel in the area, because I'd already seen it, this would be a dead giveaway. There's another one local. It's up the tree. Having a bit of a squawk. Well, not a squawk, more of a scream, really. There, you can hear it. Just got to wait for him to turn up, I think. I had to listen to this squirrel moaning for a good 5 minutes before it finally came to the tree. I'll just cut the video short to spare you. Get to the interesting bit. Might lift that audio off, put it on my phone for annoying other squirrels in future. Not quite sure what it means. He obviously wasn't big enough to push the other squirrel off. All the ones I had today were boars. Some were adolescents. They didn't have the cojones, if that's how you see it, that some of the other ones did. Maybe this is one of the youngsters. Probably had a kicking off the other one. It did this for quite a while. Very annoying, really. So annoying, I had to fast forward it 5 times speed. You see how long this bit of a clip goes for. I could have just removed it completely, but you've got to realise that sometimes you have to be patient when waiting for squirrels. Yes, I might be able to pick it off at some point, but I could also quite easily have missed it, or even worse, wounded it by taking a shot when I know that its balance of probability is not going to be on my side. You don't normally take target shots at a target and have it moving around. See the robin playing hide and seek with the squirrel. Here we go. It's about time he's got here. I'm lining up on it ready for the shot. Just making sure I'm all set. As soon as I'm happy, I'll pull the trigger, or squeeze the trigger even, before anyone says anything. There we go. After all that effort, dead squirrel. And that is what patience gets you. Gets you results. Kicking on the ground. There's nothing wrong with it though. Part of its brain was hanging out when I got to it. Quick look with the camera. Difficult to see in there, but I'm pretty sure from what I've seen so far, that's a dead squirrel. The 3 so far, not bad at all for this time of year. Quite pleased with myself for coming out. For a good portion of that last bit of footage you saw, I was actually tracking the squirrel through the scope. Quite a clear view, isn't it? I'll fast forward this now up to the bit you want to see. I know it's in fast forward motion, 5 times speed, but you can see it there, having a good old sniff at the blood. It doesn't put it off one little bit, which answers a question that sometimes crops up on our videos. Does it put them off? Well, the answer is no. I've seen it many times before, but there's a perfect example. I did think it was going to wander off at that point, but it did come back around, as you'll see in a second. We seem to have a bit of wire interference, but never mind, I know my rifle is accurate to the crosshairs. So I take the shot through the gap in the wires. That's why we set our rifles up. Another one down. Literally as soon as that one got dropped, another one starts squawking behind me. It's doing the proper squawk, as I call it. The other one did that sort of cry thing. It's behind me to my right, that is, somewhere. So if I wait long enough, I know there's another squirrel in the area, hopefully he'll come down for some food. Nothing seemed to arrive after the squawking ended. I did spot some motion up the bank. Thought for a second it might be a squirrel coming down the hill. I used to do that years ago. It's just a deer walking up the hill. I think that's a fallow. I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong. Looked like just a lone deer to me. They rove around on these hills quite a lot. Usually quite a few pronounced deer tracks. We often use them ourselves. Tracking across the hill up to the top. Probably looking for something to eat. Or somewhere warmer. And no sooner than I turn my camera off, I spot more movement. Whether they're her youngsters or not, I don't know. There's a few of them, so I imagine it's a bit of a herd. Nice to see though. Turn the camera on, so I've heard claws on bark, what I thought were. It's a very still day. It's a cool morning in November, late November, almost December. Beautiful day to be out. I was right, I could hear claws on bark. No squawking this time. Not sure if it's the one that made all the row before, but it is a squirrel. Let's see what this one does. There's 3 on the ground so far. I was hoping there'd be more, but I'm just glad to get one on the deck, to be honest, today. And I've got 3. So despite my tea being left at home, I've done okay. I sped it up again, mainly because this squirrel messes about quite a bit, and partly because I knocked the camera up in the air. It's the trouble when you're filming and shooting. Here we go. Just sat there, so I thought it's easier to take the shot where it sits nice and still. Good impact. Side-on headshot. Little somersault and straight to the ground. Just about making it right at the very bottom of the screen. I'm too busy looking out through the scope. Happy with that. It's only a short clip, this one. Wait for the head movement. Watch this. There we go. I took the shot straight after. Straight in the side of the head, straight to the brain. Dead squirrel on the deck. Just about making it between the trees and the post. Yet more squacking up the tree straight after that last shot. Fully expected in squirrel number 5 to come in, but in the end I gave up and went home. Have a nice cup of tea. That's where all 4 came to rest. Pretty much where they dropped, and there they are, next to my rifle, with the HITTAC on top. Right, we've had a call from one of our permissions. Got a bit of an issue with rats. Apparently they're coming at the daytime, so myself and Bro go out to take a look. Apparently they're getting around this mother cooney pig and her little sausages. I mean piglets. They're beautiful little creatures. Unfortunately, not all the creatures in this pen are very nice. We literally walked away for no more than 5 minutes, and when we came back, peered over the bales with my camera phone, took these pictures, literally 10 to 12 feet away from them. Just come out in broad daylight, eating the pig food. The mother's laid down suckling her pigs at the moment, she's out the way. They don't come out when she's there. But we're going to have to come back and have a visit, I think. We'll cut straight to the chase. I'm looking at the end of the hay bales from where Bro is. It's my first kill of the night. Spotted him up in the bales there. And because you can pause the record and then restart it again, this will jump straight to the next rat I see without me doing any editing. That was all one piece of film that came off the SD card because of this feature. I've absolutely no idea what happened there. I did press record, I thought in time. I definitely killed the rat. Over to the neighbours. He's already come over and given us permission. He's got some chickens and he's got rats getting around there in the daylight hours. So I was walking around the farm, popping through a little alleyway to overlook the neighbours. This was a fence with some sort of climbing plant that had died back on it. And trying to spot rats in amongst the gaps, get a pellet through onto them. The chicken's been put away and the ducks are nowhere near, all the way over to the right of me. I managed to pick that one through the fence. That's a goner. Quick scan around. See if there's anything else there. And on my journey, this is the bird roosting in a tree. I only showed you this video just to see what the performance of the HITTAC was like at night. I'm not planning to shoot it, it's illegal for starters. Back onto the farm, different location away from the pigs. Bro's overlooking them, trying to see what he can get. We've sprinkled a bit of wheat on top of this tump. Couple of rats on top of it. Obviously one's on the ground now. Pretty sure I got that one. Some of these I never got to retrieve. Mainly because they kick into holes and under things. It's difficult to find them afterwards. I'm pretty sure those 2 are dead. Tactic here is to shoot a few, move on, back over to buy the chickens again, see if I can pick out another one. Sometimes they're quite challenging shots. This is quite close. I've had to stand where I am to get a straight line on them. It's behind me to my right, the PAR light that keeps popping on. If I go too far over, it lights me up like a Christmas tree for about 10 seconds, and then the rats run away. Keep catching sight of things moving around. That's a rat, most definitely is. Sometimes you catch those little bits of dead plant. Anyway, back over to the tump again. Oh no, he's spotted me. Spent too long. I'm scanning around for the targets. As I scan back, ta-da, he's back out again. That was a bad choice, wasn't it? Exactly the same setup as I had before. Thieving Rapid, H&N Barracuda Hunter Extremes. They wreck rats just as well as they wreck squirrels. These were hiding in the grass. I was trying to thread a pellet through, but sometimes that vegetation catches the pellet. I know full well this is a rat. I tried to thread a pellet into his eye. All I do is chop the stalk in front of him, leaving his eye exposed. Not sure if I got him. Can't see any evidence I did. I spot this one. It's out in the yard, he was. Got him definitely. I was just in the middle of the yard on a track for some strange reason. You get a similar reaction from a rat that's had a headshot as you do from a squirrel. And usually the tail spins around, which is where we coined the phrase helicopter tail from in our old rat videos. Back on the tump again. Another visitor. Good solid impact there. That's the audio on the HITTAC only. Picked up the sound quite well. Good solid whop. That one jumps around, as I said, just like a squirrel. I had about 10 rats, and Bro had about 5, I think, about 15 between us. That's all we could retrieve. A lot of them were out of a position where you couldn't get to them, or they'd kicked to a place we couldn't find them. It's a week later, not to be put off, I decided to go back out with Bro again to the same place. I should be putting some extra IR onto the HITTAC on this Picatinny rail. So I stuck an IR torch on top with a few brackets I have. We'll see if that makes a difference to the performance on top of the existing IR that the HITTAC comes with. We were hoping for better numbers this evening, so a week later we put a bit of bait out in a few places. These rats come out specifically to get the pig nuts, or whatever they are, and probably run away, which annoyed me greatly because I should have shot it. I thought it was going to sit and feed. But luckily enough, it came back out again. I didn't waste any time the second time. We didn't do very well at all tonight. Bro didn't even see one. I think, well, actually it's a lie. I think he got one over by the chickens, which is exactly where I am. I was wandering around and he was looking at the tump. Never saw anything on the tump. You see that feeder? The owner of the chickens has allowed us to put it there to help draw the rats out. Managed to get a couple from here. There's the second one. Only quite small ones. They knew I was there or something was going on. They stuck their heads out. And I spot this one in the grass. There's a little bit of a pond or a stream down to the left there. Here's my last rat of the night. Nice headshot there. Caught him in the grass. Came out too far for the little bit of food we put out. As I said at the beginning, it's no longer a HITTAC. It's an Arken Optics device, and this is a picture of it in its livery. It's exactly the same device as I was using. with the Arken Optics branding on it. There's a link in the description if you want to check it out or buy one. Compare it to other units. I really like it. I think it worked well. Did a great job for me. If you use the link in the description to have a look, enough people do it, they might want to give us other items to try out. And if you actually buy one, we will get a small commission part of it if you use that link. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like, subscribe and share. Thank you.